Welcome back to Where Rams Walk. Scott says, Paul Warne was probably the nicest manager I have ever spoken to out of all the Derby managers. Top chap, and I genuinely wish him well. I'll look out for his results wherever he goes. He will be towards the top of League One. That is for sure. Paul Warne has gone. Thank you, Paul. But of course, our question now is who next? Is Eustace on his way? Plus, also this week, we are looking back at the transfer window. How did Derby do? Who's been the worst ever Derby manager to fill in with our worst ever Derby side, which we have created over the last couple of weeks on this channel. There it is, and we'll review it at the end of the video. Plus, it's Valentine's Day, and we've got our full team with us, and we're sharing our love for Derby County. How did they first fall in love with them? We've got Thomas, Kieran, Peyton, Luke, and Ashton back with us. Thank you very much, guys. And we've got Stace making his debut on the channel as well. So lots to get through, therefore lots of people to talk to. So Peyton, as our longest standing member, we're going to start with you. Paul Warne is finally gone. What was your thoughts when it happened?
I was pleased that the trigger was finally pulled. I thought the timing was a bit strange, seeing as it happened on a Friday and it happened after training for some reason. So Warne took training the Friday before we played Norwich, obviously, Saturday. And then he got told after training, just about to get on the coach to go to Norwich, that he would not be managing the team. And I thought the timing was a bit bad, and I think hasn't been handled the best by the club. But I feel like he had to go at some point, and the fact that we came into Norwich with four coaches that have been around the squad. Obviously, Matt Hamshaw and Andy Warrington were part of his backroom staff, and Bradley Johnson and Jake Buxton have been around Derby for about 15 years at this point. But got a point against Norwich. Everyone's feeling very happy, and I feel like Warne goes with everyone's best wishes onto his next steps.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at some other comments. Sorry, Richard said, "Wow, it just had to happen, but now the timing is very odd. Surely, after giving him the window, I thought if he had left at all, it would be him quitting. There was no mention of one's coaches in club statement on the website." Rob Statham says, "One of the best humans you'll ever meet." Lots of love for him that's come out of this. Luke, what's your final thoughts on Paul Warne leaving your club?
Yeah, it started off fantastically. Got us promoted. We was loving it, but his record in the Championship just showed. I mean, like you say, he was a lovely bloke. Like meeting him and talking to him, it was absolutely lovely. But lovely bloke doesn't get you results in the Championship. And like I say, I think it was just a bit too much of a step up for him. And yeah, like you say, it had to happen. Like I say, strange timing, but yeah, it had to happen. So yeah.
Okay. Kieran, our thanks go to Paul. What some people are saying we owe him nothing. I think actually you owe him everything, don't you? You'd still be in League One if it wasn't for Paul Warne. Would you believe that?
100%. Yeah, we honestly, Paul Warne, he did what he came in and he was meant to do. He got us promoted from League One. When he joined us from Rotherham, we weren't settling well into League One. I think we were at the lowest position we've ever been in our history, and he took us up. And all of us will have that memory for life. And for me especially, it was like the first real promotion I can really remember. So he got us to the Championship. He honestly, from every conversation people have had with him, he is genuinely a lovely person, and I wish him all the best. I think if David Ozo didn't get injured, I personally think we would have been in a much different position. But you know what? Sometimes you just need a change, and he goes with everyone's best wishes. And I really hope he finds a club he's able to go up with them and show he's got that credentials.
Okay. Yeah, on behalf of everybody at Where Rams Walk, I know we've had Warne should leave and all these tweets in the last week, but we genuinely wish him well. Such a really, really nice bloke. And I don't think, Thomas, he's going to be too long before a club probably snaffle him up, is it?
No, I doubt it. He'll be back in management soon. Like I said in the tweets, it'll be top end League One, but that is his level. Again, I've got no hard feelings against Paul Warne. Like, he did a great job in League One, as we've said, but he's just not a Championship manager, and the decision had to be made.
Yeah, okay. Right, on to the next one then, Ashton. Yeah, I love this. This is from Luke here. Alexa, play The Boys Are Back in Town. George says at the bottom, says, So the rumours are true. If we pull this off, it will be massive. The board is showing a real statement of intent for growth and leaning forward in the right direction of the club. I will be very happy with this appointment. Ashton, if John Eustace were to sign, would you be happy?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a bit of a roller coaster all weekend. You know, we've been linked with whoever and stuff, but when it comes to John Eustace, you know, we've seen what a job he did at Birmingham. I think that, you know, the takeover and the celebrity franchise kind of got him out of there. Obviously, you know, Blackburn being down as relegation fodders, and what he's done there has been great. Yeah, I think he's a bit of a dark horse, really. I think I'd definitely welcome him with open arms. You know, he knows the club a bit, you know, from playing here. And I think really, ultimately, I think he is probably the best fit. And I just think, you know, Klaus, in a way, he's a bit of a quirky man, and I think he'd have had that in the back of his mind for quite a while. And after finding out the news, you know, I just hope we can get it over the line and get him in.
Yeah. Stace, welcome to the show. Thanks for giving up your time. You're a
Cheers, Mark.
massive Derby County fan. We know you travel up and down the country with your family, supporting them. How worried were you? The rumours perhaps of Gerrard was perhaps going to be on his way, given his sacking.
I think Gerrard, given the Rooney experience, and like to steer clear, definitely looking for someone who's got championship experience, and Eustace has certainly left Birmingham, and if he leaves Blackburn, in a better place than they were when he arrived. So it's a positive. We can't be gambling with the future of the club on someone who doesn't really know anything about the championship. It would be too risky for me, really.
Yeah, there's a few comments, Stace, online about comparing Derby and Blackburn as clubs and the size of them, and some fans saying, well, why would he go to Derby when he's at Blackburn, who are already in sixth? But I mean, the league positions are really irrelevant here, isn't it? Isn't it the size of the project that he could do with Derby versus what he could do with the Venkies in Blackburn?
Well, the Venkies have lots of problems, haven't they, around the finances and getting money out of India into the club. That Mr. Klaus is looking at investment from somewhere else. So I think if that investment comes, then they can be on an upward trajectory as a club moving forward. It's also closer to his home, isn't it, in the West Mids? Yeah. So I think there's a lot of positives around there, and I just think the fan base is undoubtedly bigger at Derby than it is at Blackburn.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look back at the Norwich game, shall we? Then, I mean, we can't comment. We're putting this out there. I mean, we might have already signed by the time you're watching this. But Kieran, you'd be happy with Eustace, wouldn't you?
100%. I would be. Yeah, I think he'd be a very, very good manager. I think he's got that experience because he's had a past with Derby. He's played for us, I think, in 2 spells. On a separate note, completely unrelated, I think if he didn't get injured when we played Ipswich, we would have gone up. But that was a different conversation for a different time. Yeah, great manager. I'm really surprised that he's leaving Blackburn, given that they're in the playoffs. Because if you think about it, you're 2-3 games away from the Premiership if he stays there. But it just shows you the size of the project, the ambitions that Derby have, and also the strained relationship with the Venkies. So, yeah, I'm very happy. Very happy.
Okay. All right, then. We are recording this after the Norwich draw, and obviously before the midweek game, so you can skip ahead now just a couple of minutes to the next section if you don't want to hear about a game that's happened at the weekend. Luke, some comments from the game. John says, well done. What a different coaching, tactics, intelligent team formation and considered substitutions makes. Mark says the lads played like they weren't gassed out. And one improved performance, not a bobble hat in sight, says Dan. There was a player in particular, Luke, that was getting lots of positive comments. Langas is effing class. Well done, lads. Langas looks solid from Owen there. Are they right to single out Langas?
Yeah, I thought he had a fantastic debut. Like you're a bit apprehensive of like when a new player comes in from abroad. Like, are they going to adapt? How well are they going to play? But no, I thought he was fantastic. There was one point when he was bombing down the right-hand side. He's a centre-off. I thought, what is he doing here? But he nearly took on the player, nearly got past him. But no, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I thought the performance was it was light and day really from what we've been seeing. We passed, we pressed, we was just really well organised, and I thought we was quite unlucky not to come away with more because we've had a goal disallowed. That's not like it's offside. It's not offside. It's not offside. But yeah, I thought we was unlucky not to win it. But yeah, fantastic performance, and yeah, to build from it.
Brilliant. Ashton, there's another one. Jacob says, there we have it. Proof that this squad is more than capable of achieving safety this season. That's an excellent point away from home. That back three of Clark, Phillips and Langas is very strong. Time to get our new gaffer in and make strides. Yeah, what do you think to the back three combo that you had?
I mean, it did look really solid. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd probably be more favoured as a back four, but I think the back three dealt with it, everything pretty well. But yeah, it just seemed like a total breath of fresh air. Like you say, Langas coming in, like he'd never not played English football before. It's great to have Nat Phillips back as well, another solid centre half. But it's one of them, as much as a lot of people may prefer, sort of a back four, I genuinely think that the whole back three dealt with Norwich and Sargent very, very well, really. So yeah, it's going to be interesting whoever comes in, what they're going to decide to do, because I don't think you can leave any of them back three out of the squad ultimately. But something's got to give one way along. But yeah.
Okay. Peyton, let's talk about Harness, shall we? Because you've given him some stickers. You even put him in the worst ever 11, which we'll come on to in a minute. Scott says Harness has been the target for a lot of stick, but he looked really lively when he came on, and he deservedly won the penalty. A penalty which our Norwich fans said there wasn't much contact with, by the way. So give us your thoughts on that and how Harness did.
Well, I'll say this. It's almost like when you play a left winger at left wing, they're actually quite good. When you don't play them in central midfield, where they can't play because they can't defend, they're actually quite good. And he looked quite lively. And obviously, you won the penalty, and I'll have to disagree with the whole not much contact. He had a square boot to the chest. And, I mean, the bit of banter, obviously, an ex-Ipswich player winning the penalty, and then Caden Jackson picking the ball up and messing around with it for about 30 seconds. That was all good. And then, I mean, Harness, yeah. If he could play on the wing more, I don't mind him. He has showed some good signs for us. I just really feel like he's an awful central midfielder. And it's good to see. And hopefully if a new manager comes in, be that John Eustace, be that anyone, preferably not someone that used to play for Liverpool, we can hopefully use them. And obviously Jerry Yates back where he should be on the score sheet.
Brilliant. It's a massive week for Derby. Obviously, we're recording this before the Oxford game, Kieran. But yeah, 2 games in 4 days. Oxford, and then a trip to London on Friday night. I mean, the Derby fans will be selling that out, I've heard, and we're travelling in their numbers again. How many points do you expect to get from those 2 games?
I'm hoping 6, but I'm going to go for, I think we could beat Oxford. I really do think we can beat Oxford. We've had a little bit of now of a bounce. The players look a little bit motivated. I know Oxford looked like a much better outfit under Rowett, but if we can get 3 points against Oxford, who you would presume are kind of at our level, they came up with us, then when we go to QPR, there's no pressure. Because I also could be wrong here, but I think QPR are a good side. I think they're a decent
the form team in the league. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'll take 3.
All right, good stuff. Right, do drop us a like and do drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet already done so. 3 little bits left then to finish off this week. The transfer window closed Stace, of course, last Monday. Oops, that's the wrong button. That's the one I wanted. What was your view overall with the dealings done? I know obviously money was tight, but in terms of what the club could do and what they did do, what was your verdict on it?
The players we got through the door, I'm happy with. I would have liked probably 2 or 3 more, as I think Paul Warne would have as well. An extra couple of attacking options and a fullback to give us a bit more cover. But on the whole, Langas had a good debut. Whether or not what he's like in a flat back 4 and 2 at the back, I'm not sure. But there's 3 at the back. Him, Clark, who we've had before and know what he's capable of, and Phillips are all very comfortable on the ball and seem to complement each other. Salverson looks like he's got a goal or two in him, and hear lots of positive stuff from Everton fans around Harrison Armstrong. So
yeah,
we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, well, as an Everton fan, I can tell you he's quality. Absolutely. Yeah, any of you surprised on any of the outgoings? Would anybody have kept some of those names there just for a bit of depth?
The only one that really is hurtful, I'd say, is Aaron Cashin. Obviously, he was going to go at some point, and the money we got for him, I think it can go up to about £15 million. You don't say no to that kind of money. I mean, we've brought in Longas for, I think it's about 4 million, and he looks maybe not as good as Cashin right now, but he could easily be as good, even if not better. He's got a lot of things that Cashin didn't have, like height and pace. So I feel like we've recruited really well for the players we lost. However, we haven't added to the squad, which could be a worry. But hopefully a new manager with free agents. There's a couple out there that are pretty decent. You don't see a...
Okay. Brilliant. Right, we've been putting together the worst ever Derby 11 over the last 3 weeks. Now, Kieran and Peyton are mostly responsible for this. So let us know what they've got wrong, first of all. They put Saldini in goal. The defenders were Ambrose Davis, Alban Tozer and Tyrone Mears. Benny Benjamin, Robbie Savage. Marcus Harness went in there as well. Nick Blackman, Lee Croft and Mason Bennett up front. So let us know in the comments, first of all, what they've got wrong. We need to add the worst ever Derby manager to this, though. So can I ask you each for a name and a justification, starting with you, Luke? Who's the worst ever manager?
I think my time watching the club, I think I'm going to have to go Paul Jewell. I mean, Billy Davis got sacked that awful season we had in the Premier League. Paul Jewell was like a poison chalice. We weren't going to stay up. But after we came back down, it was even worse, really. It was terrible football. And, yeah, it didn't last long. But, yeah, Paul Jewell gets my vote.
Okay, I'm sure lots of people were nodding when you said that. Let's go round. Ashton?
Yeah, Paul Jewell's definitely up there. I mean, when you sort of look, probably Philip Cocu in a way, probably Phil Brown in a way. I mean, we all sort of go to Nigel Pearson all the time. But personally, I think a lot of people sort of brand him probably one of the worst managers we've ever had. But I just think a lot of it at the time was a bit of crybaby with the players sort of, wanting him to be gone because they didn't like his ways. But yeah, there's a few contenders. I think Paul Jewell for the whole stats thing. You can't argue with that, can you? Really? So yeah.
Good stuff, Stace.
Paul Jewell probably up there, but I think for me it's got to be Phil Brown. Any manager that comes in and ends up dropping your goalkeepers and your strikers to play your coaching staff. I mean, Dean Holder playing up front for 3-4 games, and Kevin Poole getting 6 games ahead of 2 England under-21 international goalkeepers is just bewildering and baffling, really. Sets the wrong tone.
Yeah, head scratcher. Kieran, I forgot about that, actually.
I'm going to go Paul Jewell. Yeah, I think he just takes it. I read an article the other day with his thoughts about it, and he felt things could have gone different. But no, it was plain to see. There was no cohesion. There was no thought process. There was nothing. Yeah, awful.
And Peyton?
I had a little look. I'd obviously say Paul Jewell. Like he was, Nigel Pearson as well. Philip Cocu. I think Paul Jewell has to be the name for the one after his.
Okay. Right. We have sorted that out. Thank you very much. Finally, it is Valentine's week, of course, or Valentine's Day. So we are asking our Derby team here how they first fell in love with Derby. Who's responsible? What was their first ever game? Quickly going round, Kieran?
Fell in love with Derby just before that season in the Premiership, when we actually got promoted. So, yeah, and I really thought, wow, the Premiership, wow, it's going to be amazing. All them top players, Ronaldo, everything, it'll be fine. Didn't end up being like that, and we haven't been back since. But, yeah, around that time, and first game was against Barnsley. It was a 0-0 draw. It was awful Nigel Clough football, but, yeah, I fell in love. I've been in love ever since.
Real. Peyton?
So when I was younger, we used to go with a football team, and I can't remember. I think it was Preston we played, and we beat them 4-0. And I remember at the end it was Darren Bent, and I think it was, I don't know who the other one was. Darren Bent and someone else were arguing over who scored the final goal. And then there was a game in the FA Cup against Man United, a very famous one. And then I think after Man United went 1-0 up in that game, I was so annoyed at the fact that we were losing that's the moment I thought, nah, no other team for me. Derby County all the way.
Fair dues. Right, you, Ashton?
Yeah, well, a bit of a family tradition, really. Granddad, dad, all sporting Derby. Well, we kind of live on the border in Stapleford, so well, I don't now, but we did do. So it's always been the banter with Forest and Derby. But I can't really remember my first game. I can remember it well though, because I can remember my dad telling me to sit still. Then I think the season after we got season tickets in the top of the North Stand, and we've sat East Stand, and then I can remember the East corner. It was just the atmosphere that just sort of consumed me, and since then I've just loved it ever since. But yeah, it's just roller coaster, up and downs with Derby, but it's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. Stace?
All families, Derby fans. Used to live. I could see the floodlights from my bedroom. Growing up, first game was Blackburn, September 1982, in a 2-1 defeat at a very cold baseball ground. But yeah, that just seeing the people walking to the ground, it just hits you, doesn't it? You go in the ground, even though it was a dump, it was our dump, and it's just those memories and the smells and sights just all adds up.
And all your kids are Derby fans as well.
Yeah.
Have to be, don't they? Luke,
the mum's a Forest fan, so.
Oh my gosh! Oh dear!
I know, but that 5-0 victory was on her birthday, so that didn't go down very
well. Luke, you've just become a father. Have you already got a Derby baby grow?
Yeah, got it already. He watched, so he was brought home just before we played in the first game at Blackburn, but obviously we'll just completely forget about that because it wasn't great. But no, whole family supports Derby. Dad took me. The first game I actually remember going to was in 2001. We played Chelsea, lost 4-0, but no, I just really enjoyed it. But my first season ticket was under Billy Davies when we went up, and I remember being at Wembley when we won. I turned to my dad and goes, "Is it always this good?" And he just said, "Just enjoy these moments. Now I know what he means."
It's never been that good, has it? Since? Oh gosh,
no.
Right. Thank you. Tell us your stories in the chat below, and we'll share some of these next week. Right. Good luck against Oxford. We'll keep everything crossed for you as a neutral here, and we'll review it, of course, in 7 days' time. Join us. In fact, we're also talking about the worst ever Derby kit next week as well. So join us for that. Right. Thank you, Stacey, Kieran, Luke, Ashton, and Peyton. We'll see you in 7 days. Thank you very much for watching.